We are officially 1 year old. Whee! That was dumb. If you watch my video called 7 months after opening a bike shop, I ended the video saying that I hope to build a bigger bike community and get more people to ride bikes. I firmly believe that to get more people to ride bikes, we have to stop treating it like a sport. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love being competitive. I've been keeping up with the Tour de France and I'm really enjoying it. But the reality is, most people who will ride bikes will not be racing bikes. You're not getting as many people to ride bikes if you think of bikes as purely a sport. I think the way to get people to ride bikes is to show how fun it is to be on your bike. And that is what I had in mind when I organized our villain anniversary ride. Here's a few highlights.
Lapit din lang video. Nay, mau po. Ay, nag.
Short or kaya ni Ke?
Big ring.
Ah, Giro! Ah! Yes! Really short.
But labor,
It rained an unbelievable amount a few days before the ride, and truth be told, I knew the route was gonna be really muddy, like peanut buttery type of mud. And I toyed with the idea of possibly changing the route. And then I decided against it because I just, you know what, if you ride with me, most likely your bike is gonna get dirty, and that's what happened. Good times. So anyway, 1 year of running this bike shop, and here's a few things I've learned. The number one source of customers, or the best marketing that we get for the shop, is from the vlog. It's basically, or the videos, I should say. Basically, the videos from YouTube, and I guess the reels on Instagram and everything. So hence I continue to make these videos, also because it's fun. And yeah, because when I get new customers in, if there are customers that I don't recognize, I just ask them how do they find out about the shop, and then the most common answer is they saw some of my videos. The second thing I learned is that I definitely need, and the second thing I learned, okay, what I'm learning right now is this is not a great place to shoot the vlog. It's kind of noisy. But the second thing I learned is that it's very difficult to run this shop with just two people. So when we first opened, it was just me and Kenneth. And now, Armand is here. He is the second mechanic. So yeah, man, what are you doing, man? What are you doing today?
Just cleaning the bike.
You're finishing up a bike spa?
Yup.
Okay. So when we first opened, it was just me and Kenneth, and it also meant that it was hard for the shop to do other things. Like one person couldn't leave right away sometimes, especially with having the bike spa, the bike wash stuff in the back of the shop. I'll show you where the bike wash is. So we usually have the bike wash done out here, and as you can see, I'm not in the shop. So if there was only two people in the shop, that meant that I always had to be there, especially if there was a bike spa or a bike wash. And that meant I couldn't leave the shop. And then there are other things that sometimes I need to do, like buy stuff or, you know, pick up my kids, whatever. And having 3 people in the shop just made everything so much less stressful. And also, it means that the work for the bikes are a lot faster. We're building something here because it's really like under the sun and it gets really hot. So Kenneth built this thing, which I assume will eventually act like a roof. Anyway, that's the bike wash spot. One of the good things about having 2 mechanics as well is that it's fun watching them figure out stuff together. Especially once we have like these weird puzzles in the shop. Like when the lock ring of this XD cassette got stuck and we couldn't get the free hub out. So here's what we did.
At last, nakuha na gid siya. Ay, salamat.
Before we continue with what I've learned after 1 year in the bike shop, allow me to talk about this video's sponsor, Curve Coffee Collaborators. Through my partnership with Curve Coffee Collaborators, I've been able to try so many different kinds of coffee. And for that, I am truly grateful. That is one of the advantages of Curve. They have so many coffees available, beans from various origins, notably great beans from all over the Philippines, but also their Be My Guest series features beans from Colombia, Yemen, and even Goroka Valley, places I've never been or heard of. They've got roast tuned for espresso, pour over, and of course cold brew. That's what we serve here in the shop. So Curve Coffee Collaborators has a lot going on. So I'll be honest, I like to take advantage. Check out their website at curve.coffee to see more of what they have available. Thanks Curve for sponsoring the vlog. Another thing I learned is that community is so important. A lot of my best customers are the ones that I ride with on a regular basis. And not only is it good for the shop, but it's been super fun. It's really been fun, man. Like, just hanging out with really cool people and doing it on the bike and off the bike at the shop as well. Which frankly makes it a little bit difficult to work in the shop sometimes because it feels like you're just hanging out all the time. I think this is where most shops do themselves a disservice. I feel like they don't focus too much on the community aspect of cycling. Like in the shop, they're great, but I feel like if you just make more efforts for like doing what we all want to do with the bike, which is ride. If you just went out and rode more with your customers, that is the easy way to build a community and an easy way to build loyalty. And frankly, especially me, I'm getting old and as you might know, once you get older, it's a little bit more difficult to find friends. And I've been able to find friends through cycling. And it's been fun. Yeah, we're heading back to the shop now. I just had to buy something for Arman so he could finish his bike spa. Here it is. Mano. So I'm gonna let stolen shots. So Arman's a bit busy and Kenneth happens to be absent today, which is also another reason why it's good to have more than one mechanic in the shop. But also, it's not every day that it's gonna be busy in the shop. There are definitely days which are slow, so side projects are always a good idea. We've had a few builds on the side, I think the first one we did was a few single speed builds, which I'll get to. I'll talk about more later in the video. But of course, we experimented with L2 group sets on my Surly, and then we also did a wide traction grit once we were comfortable with the L2. And then we made more grits, and then of course we also made a Focus all-road bike. And those little projects make the shop interesting, and it's a good way for the shop to stand out. The latest project, I'm going to show you, it's outside. So that was our latest project, and it already brought in a few customers that just passed by the road. So projects, they're a good idea. I decided to go into this empty space because Arman's busy, it's noisy, and filming with other people around is kind of strange. Yeah, running a bike shop in 2025 is a bit strange because one big question about the shop is, what do you stock in your shop? And honestly, you can find so much stuff online that if you wanted to save as much money as possible and you knew what you were doing, that's the big caveat. If you knew what you were doing, then ordering online would save you some money. Unfortunately, if you did not know what you were doing, either you'd spend so much time researching, or you would end up spending a little bit more making mistakes, buying stuff that you don't necessarily need, or buying stuff that don't match. That's the problem with the bike industry. There's so many different standards that it's kind of confusing at first. It's confusing to me. Like every time I buy something for my bikes or for the shop, I make sure to ask the mechanics for their input before I press buy, because I don't want to make a mistake. But we're still a bike shop, and I noticed that the bike shop can get along pretty fine just doing service, but it's pretty important that you sell certain things. The question is, what do you stock in the shop to sell? I don't know the answer to that question just yet. I feel like if you're following what previous bike shops used to do, where they would just stock as much of everything as possible, you're putting a lot of your capital on hold, because you're putting a lot of your capital on inventory, and a lot of that inventory just doesn't move quickly at all. Let's say you were a clothing retailer in a mall. Inventory that doesn't move is not a good way to do business. And I did not want to have that in my shop. Hence, inventory or knowing what to stock tends to be a little bit of a Pandora's box. I don't really know what to do. We're working it out though. And another thing that I learned that's super important in the shop is just to continue experimenting. We do a lot of experiments in the shop. We experimented with L2 group set before I opened the shop. Didn't know much about them, tried them out, really liked them. And if you're looking for an affordable group set, L2 is the way to go. We experimented with chain wax, and now a lot of our customers ask for the chain wax on a regular basis. So that helps people go back to the shop. So we're always experimenting with stuff. And I think especially now in this day and age, experimenting as a bike shop, I think it's important. Because you never really know what's going to move the needle for the shop. Sometimes those experiments lose you money. So I mentioned the single speed commuter bikes. We spent some money on those things, and they've kind of just sat there for the past 6 months. Initially, when I opened the shop, I envisioned the shop to be for gravel cyclists or commuter cyclists, and most of the people right now who have visited the shop are these gravel/adventure cyclists, gravel or mountain bike. And that is our main customer base, not so much people who are looking to commute. which is fine, but that also means I made 2 commuter bikes that are just sitting there on the display. Well, if you lower the price enough, eventually it'll get sold. But it was kind of annoying, and like I said, not all experiments do well. Some experiments fail. And I think in order to get to the experiments that do well, you have to go through the ones that fail. I'm not sure the audio is great here. I'm going to move. I got home from the bike shop early because I want to get some exercise in, but I think I only have an hour left and the weather is not looking great. I have an hour before I pick up my son. So I think I'm gonna jog. Not happy about that one, but it's better than nothing. One last thing I learned about opening a bike shop. I feel like there are easier ways to earn money. Although owning a bike shop is super fun and I enjoy hanging out there all the time. But if I wanted to earn money, I feel like there would be easier ways. So don't be so hard on your local bike shop. Most people who are in bike shops, who are running bike shops, most mechanics, most whatever, anybody who works in a bike shop, they're not doing it for the money. They're doing it because they enjoy cycling and they enjoy the culture around cycling. Okay, that's it. More videos soon. Ciao. Time to go running.